share my screen now. Okay. So Manish, as you were not available in the previous session, so what we have covered in the previous session that we configured the basic settings inside the manifest.json file for the routings. Like we added routes, config, and targets inside the routing configuration of manifest. And once we add all the routing configuration, so next part is we have to make sure that the default view which is getting created at the time of project generation. So that view always we have to make it as, or we have to keep it as blank. Okay. We have to only include app or shell based on your choice. Okay. But make sure that whatever ID we provide to this app control, this ID, it should match with the config of control ID. Okay, if you look at the value that we provided to the control ID property, this is app. At this app ID and this app controls ID, both are similar. Okay, because that is what we need. Why we need? Because in SAP UI5, the applications which are built, okay, those are single page applications. So single page means only the part of view will affected. Okay, from means it will be updated. You will not reload the entire page, only that part of view it will be updated with the changes that you want to see, and how it will affect based on this only. Okay, that's why we want to provide this ID, because going forward, let's say you have 10 or 15 view.xml files. Okay, and you want to navigate between all those view files, so we will not reload the entire application in that case. Okay, we will not reload the entire application in that case. So only the thing that we are going to do is we will keep this app control consistent, or this app control will remain the common across all the view files. Okay, only the part of view. Okay, only we will load that view inside the app control. Okay, this app control, this control will remain the same. Only the content of the app content, it will be updated based on the whichever view you load spatially. Okay, so that's what we completed in the previous session. And after for apart from that, okay, so we have also seen the base controller concept. Okay, we have also seen, like, let's consider that you want to add a common code, and which that common code will remain consistent across all the view files. Okay, that would remain the same. So in that case, what we have done, we have just created a basic JavaScript file, and the name of the file that we have added is base controller. It depends, you can add any name, but I have just added base controller to follow the best practice. Okay, so this base controller, what I have done, it has the same structure like controller file. Okay, same structure, nothing we have done in this, everything is same. But whatever the common code we will add, right? So let's say now this second view.xml uh, want to inherit all the features from the base controller. So only thing is that you have to go to the second view.controller.js file. And in this, we have to provide the path of base controller. And then from that base controller, we have to extend. Okay, not from the controller, from the base controller. Now we have to extend so that any features or any functions that we will add, the generic functions that we will add inside the base controller, that can be accessible easily to other controller files. Okay, so that is the purpose of base controller in this UI5 application. Okay, and after the base controller concept, we have also seen, like, let's say how to navigate. Okay, 1 second, I'll just run this app for a second. Okay, so what we have done, apart from configuration and apart from base controller, so we have also added a code. Okay, we have also added a piece of code which will help us to navigate between the views. Okay, let's consider by default we are in the first page. Okay, as soon as we run this app, so if I click on the next page, it will take you to the second page. But during this navigation, if you look at the this tab, okay, there would be no reload. Only the content of the view will be updated. Okay. Okay, can you see now? Only the content of view, it got updated. Okay, again, if I click on back, it will come to the first page. Again, if I click on the next page, it will come to the second view. Okay, and how this navigation is taken care? It is taken care with the help of hash view. So in UI5 routing and navigation, it is been done with the help of hash. Okay, it is been done with the help of hash. If any value changes after the hash, internally there would be a function call. Okay, there would be a function call which will make sure that the which will check the configuration. Okay, inside the manifest.json file, and based on that configuration, whichever the pattern is getting matched, that associated view file will be loaded onto the screen. Okay, because everything is handled through the hash in this UI5 application. Okay, so I think this is what we have covered so far, right, Shiva? In the previous session.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now it's time to check how we can handle the invalid hash. Okay, let's consider we have couple of users. Okay, so now this pattern, okay, whatever the pattern you can see in the URL. So this pattern, it's already there inside the manifest.json file. Okay, one second. Okay, let's see that this is your manifest.json file. Okay, inside the manifest.json file, we already have that second view pattern. The second view pattern is already available in this pattern value. Okay, so only this pattern value is getting updated here. But now let's say if we have couple of users who have entered invalid value. Okay, anything they have entered after this, and they are just trying to enter, they are just trying to search for this. So as soon as they will click, so as we know, there is no view or any route associated with this pattern. Okay, why? Because this pattern is invalid in this URL, right? And there is no pattern we have like this. So always remember, so this Manish, for you especially. So the inside the routes, okay, let's consider that if you have three view files, so you will create three routes. Okay, inside the routing configuration. So that is the case. So we have created a route for the second view. So now inside the routes, if you see, we have added three parameters like name, pattern, and the target. So the name, you will use it inside the controller for the navigation purpose. Okay, because with the help of name, you can navigate to that view. And what about the pattern? So pattern value will always appear inside the URL. Okay. And then what is the purpose of target? Target will help you to load that match pattern view.xml file onto the screen. Okay, that is the purpose of all these three values in this routes. Okay, and the purpose of target is just to load that associated view.xml file onto the browser. Okay, fine now. So now what I will do. So now if you look at this invalid hash, okay, so this pattern, the pattern value that we provided, it is invalid. Okay, this is an invalid pattern that we have provided, and there is no view.xml file associated with that pattern, right? So there is no view.xml file associated with that pattern. So what we need to do now, so we need to catch this invalid hash. Okay, how we can catch this invalid hash? So for catching this invalid hash, so we have one property inside the global configuration. Okay, inside the manifest, if you see, we have maintained one global configuration, right? So this is just a one-time configuration or the setting that we need to maintain, and which will be applicable to all the view and controller files in this application, right? So in this configuration, so we have one property bypassed. Okay, so if you are adding that bypass property, so what will happen if the user is entering invalid value? Okay, if user is entering invalid pattern or hash value in this URL, so automatically it will take the user to the not found page. Okay, so if you want that it should capture invalid hash, so we need to add that value. And as soon as that invalid hash values encountered. Okay, if that is getting encountered, so that associated not found page, that not found page view.xml file and the controller file will be loaded in the browser, so that user will see the not found page in the URL. Okay, so what I will do now, I will just create a one more view.xml file and the controller file for the not found page. Okay, so for the not found page, I'll just go to the development toolkit. I will go to the samples and there is one control message page. Okay, so we have one control message page. Okay, can you see now? So this is one kind of a message page that you can also use it for not found. Okay, so you can just add one icon for the not found and you can just display one message that particular page is not available. Please check, or please check with your admin, or please check your URL. Okay, that kind of message we can add it for the not found page. Okay, so let me add. So I'm just going to add this message page. Okay, so if you go to the API reference, so it's coming from the library sap.m. Okay, so I'm just going to create one new view.xml file for the not found and also the controller files. Okay, let me create a new view file here. Okay, my view file is created. Now I'm going to create. Okay, so we created not found view.xml file, not found controller.js file. Two files we have created. So now inside this, I will just copy the content from any view file and you can paste it here. Okay, here you just need to change the name of controller file. Okay, which is not found. Now inside this, I can directly add message page. Okay, so there are a couple of properties for this. You can add an icon. Okay, let's consider that. Okay, I'm just going to search for not found, or let me see if we have anything like. Okay, so let me see if we have any error. Yes, maybe we can use this. Okay, adding that icon here. And after that, I want to display a title. There are a couple of things here. Like, see, we have one title, text, and description. Okay, let's consider that title is not found. And then I'm just adding text. It's automatically coming. Not matching item found. So, okay, fine. We'll keep that as it is. Or otherwise, we can also change. Or let it be. And I'm adding one more property, description. Okay, so okay, fine now. So just adding this. Okay, so now the not found page is done. Now next thing what we need to do. So I'm just going to add a pattern for this. Not pattern. I'm just going to add one property inside the manifest.json file. Okay, for the bypass. So whenever if user is entering invalid hash, so there is a bypass property here. Okay, and inside the bypass, you just need to provide a target name. Okay, so now target I'm just adding as not found. Okay, and so now we don't need a pattern for this. We don't need to add a route for the not found. Okay, we just directly need a target for this because the target name, as we are directly declaring it inside the bypass. Okay, so this target. So I'm just going to create one more target for this. Target not found. Okay, slide control. Okay, the name of view, it is a case sensitive. So just provide the name as it is, not found. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Only this is what we need to do now. So now the controller, yeah, I'm just copying the code for controller also here. I'll make sure that this is also extending from the base controller. I'll paste it here. Now inside the first view, I'll add not found. Okay, that's it. Okay, so yeah. So I'll do one thing. I'll just remove the hash from here. See, it's automatically loading because of invalid hash. It's because as we are using localhost. So as soon as you change some code, automatically your app will refresh in the new tab. So let me go to the basic page. Okay. So now this is your default view, right? Yeah, this is your default view of your application. Okay. So now let's say I'm clicking on the next page. So I will be navigated to the second view, right? It will take me to the second view. Now let's say if user is entering invalid value in this, and if he's trying to click here, so automatically not found page will appear. Okay. Why it will appear? Because we added one basic setting, right? We added one basic setting inside the config. What is that setting? Bypass. Okay, whenever if user is entering invalid hash value, so automatically the user, he will be navigated to the not found page. Okay, this is the basic setting for that. Bypass. In target, you have to provide a name of the target. It can be your choice. Okay, it's you, depending on your choice. Whatever name you want to provide, you can provide here. Okay, and once you provide, you
Uh,
need to just create a target for it. Yes.
Within the controller, not on controller,
Mm-hmm.
any in that I am saying that overauto left to second view.
Ah, this we didn't change. We need to change that. Okay, I've just copied code as it is, right? So I need to change that. Don't worry on that.
So that create any issue? Means, because I saw that there is no issue even though we have copied. Uh, so
Uh,
we can left to second view.
one second, one second, one second. Yeah, hello, guys, you can hear
Yes,
me,
yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so no, this will not create any issue as of now. If you want to navigate to the second view, still it will work for you. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, so yeah. So at least you got it. Means what we have done for handling invalid hash. Okay, whenever if the pattern is invalid, whenever this URL is invalid, right? So what we need to do, we just need to add a bypass property inside the config namespace. Okay, so once you add the config inside, once you add this bypass property inside the config, after that you just need to provide or you just need to create a target for it. And once you create a target, so that associated view file will be loaded in the screen. Okay, so now let's consider if user is coming into this page, and now let's say you want to go back. Okay, so let's say you want to go back to the previous view, or not to the previous, maybe to the home page. So what I will do here, I need to provide a back button here, right? Because for sure I need a back button here for the not found page. So for providing a back button in not found page, we have one property, nav button. Okay, this is a property. Once you add a true, a back button will be available for that page. And after that, what we need to do next? Next, we need to add an event for this. Okay, so there is an event nav button press, and in this, I will add handle back navigation. Okay, so in this handle back navigation, I'm just going to add a code for it. So as we are extending from the base controller, let's say I want to go to the previous page. Okay, let's say I want to go to the previous page. Means I don't want that user to go to the second view or the second view or any other view. Each user should be directly navigated to, he should be directly navigated to the main page, means home page directly, rather than taking him to the any middle of the page. So we will take him to the home page directly. So for taking him to the home page, what we need to do? We just need to provide a default views name. So what is a default views name that we have added? So what is a default route for our application is the first view. Because if you look at the pattern for the first view, we kept the pattern as a blank. Okay. So if you are able to see any pattern, if you're able to see for a view, there is a pattern blank. It means that is a default, or that is the first page of your app. Okay, so that is a main page of your app, which you can also call it as a home page. Okay, so now I will directly take user to the first view. So whatever value we have provided inside the name property, I will copy that. I'll go back to the not found page, and here I can get same whatever code is there. You can write this dot get router info. So this get router info, this method we have already defined it inside the base controller. So what this method will do? This method will return the router instance, because router is only the API which will help you to navigate to the different views, right? And if you want to call a nav2 method, so first of all, we need a router instance. So this method is just returning the router instance. And once we receive the router instance, so we will store that instance in ORouter. Okay. And after that, from ORouter, we will call a method of nav2 of router API, in which we need to provide a name of that first view. Okay, that's it. Okay, let it reload now. Okay, so now we can see a back button here. And as soon as I click on that back button, it will take you to the first page. See now? Okay, so this is how it is been done. The navigation, it has been done in SAP UI5. Okay, so now one topic is done. So now only two topics are left in this routing. That is navigation with mandatory parameters, navigation with optional parameters. Okay, so let's see that after 5 minutes. Okay, so let's take a break of 5 minutes, and after that we'll continue with routing with mandatory parameters, and after that optional parameters. Okay, any questions, guys? Shiva or Manish in this invalid hash?
Uh, Actually, some part I like just means I just want to understand that, or I couldn't recollect that part. So this pattern you have mentioned that space. So for not found also we are going to make the pattern has a space.
No, 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 no. See, for not found, we didn't added any route here. We have only
Ha.
routes for first view and the second view. For not found, see, no one is going to directly navigate to the not found. Means in application,
Mm.
you will not write a code like this to navigate to the not found. Okay, it has been
Okay.
handled by this configuration. The bypass property, it will handle by automatically. If it
Mm-hmm.
encounters invalid hash or URL into this browser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So
Manually,
you
we
have
don't
just
want to
got
trigger.
the name for that, that not found, that you have just mentioned, you have mentioned, right, or not found something
Mhm,
in the route somewhere, uh,
mhm. Yeah,
name.
here. Inside the targets, I have maintained not found. So this target will
Okay.
help you to load that view.xml file.
Okay.
Okay. Routes, it is just a name that you are providing or you're giving to your view.xml file just for identification.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, clear.
So whenever if you're able to see a pattern as a blank, so means see every time you run your app, you will see one a view file will be loaded, a default view will be loaded, right? So I have just made that I every time I load or every time I run this app, I should see first view. I don't want to see second view. So that's why I made the pattern of first view as a blank. Okay. So if I'm making
Okay.
second view as a blank, so instead of first view, let's consider now I'll do one thing. So I'm just adding first view and second view pattern. I'm making it as a blank. So now instead of first view, I will see the second view as a default. You can see now. Can you see now second page?
Yes.
Okay. So let's consider in the future also means if you're working on any scratch project, which is completely from the scratch. So just for your practice or just for your testing purpose, you can try this. Okay, fine now.
Okay, Abhi.
Okay, so let's take a 5 minutes break, and after that we will continue with mandatory parameters. Okay, we'll see that how we can pass a data between two views, how the data is being shared. Okay, let's see that within 5 minutes. So let's take a break. Yeah. So guys, are you back?
Yes, Avi.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Now let's see that how the navigation is been done for based on the mandatory parameters. Okay. So now in day-to-day life, so in couple of UI5 applications, so guys, you have seen the requirement like you want to pass a data. Okay, you want to pass a data from one view to other view. Okay, how that data it is been passed from one view to other view, at how it has been done. Means let's say you want to pass some information from the first view to the second view. How you will pass? Any idea for that?
We will call the controller in second view controller. Is it?
No, no, that's not possible.
Miss.
Means
Okay.
let's say in the first view you have a table. Okay, let's consider that the table is there. In table we have 100 records. Okay, now you want to pass the information of the clicked record onto the second page or the next page. How you will pass that? Which record is been clicked? How you will pass that information to the next page?
Means just a guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so generally, like how we used to do that means there are some events or some SAP provide some functionality that whenever means I don't remember for UFI what could be that keyword, but in a web like we capture those particular rows which has been clicked in the screen in the view,
Mm-hmm.
and we captured that, and on the basis of that we pass it to the item table and then we show the records. So here in this case we means, whatever would be the functionality, we'll just capture that row, and then in the second view we can just by some ID or by some reference that from the first view this ID we can get. I mean, just a guess, we not
Mm-hmm.
just I'm
No, no,
trying.
no,
Uh,
that's okay. That's not a problem. Okay.
so yeah, that's the way how we can fetch it in the second view
Okay,
and things like
I'll tell you how it is done in UI5.
that.
So in UI5, there are two ways to capture the information of the clicked record. Okay, so either we already know that models can be created on local level and on global level. So if you are making a model on the application level, means on a component level, so it means any view and controller file can access that model, right? Right. If
Yes,
you're
yes,
creating on the view level, only for that specific view, it will have the access. Only that view can access the model. But let's say that you want to access that model in any view. So you want to make or you have to define that model on component level, right? So if you are defining that model on the component level, so easily you can access the information on any view. So what I'm trying to say that if you're clicking on record, so as soon as you click, you will store that information in one model. And let's say if that model is already declared on the component level. So in the next view, as soon as you navigate to the next page, so in that page, you can easily access that information with the help of model. Like you can directly write a code, this dot get owner component dot get model. And inside the get model, you will pass model name. And after that, you will call one more method, get data. Okay, get data or get property based on your choice. So once you write that code, you will receive the information, whichever you have clicked. Okay, whichever the table record you have clicked. Okay, so that you can display. But apart from the model, there is also one more way. So that way is passing the data with the help of parameters. Okay, while routing, while navigation itself, you can pass some data as a parameter in the URL. So you will see that information in the URL. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, so there are two ways to pass the information. So which one you will say that it is more secure and in which data cannot be exposed? Because if you're going with the first, if you're going with the second approach, your data will be exposed in the URL, right? Is it right?
Uh,
Means see,
means
in the first one, your model's data will not be exposed in the URL. Means none of the users can see that data in the URL if he is not a UI5 developer, right? But if let's consider I'm going to pass the information through the navigation. Means we have a concept of routing with mandatory parameters. So what will happen if you're going with the mandatory parameters? That information is always going to be exposed in the URL. That is how the functionality will work. Okay, because we have to pass that information in the URL. So if you're going to pass that information in the URL, so all that information will be going to be exposed, right? To the customer, and which we don't want. So let's consider that we have a record. Okay, let's consider in simple way that you have 100 records of employee. Okay, so for that table, your primary key is employee ID. Okay, so what you will do, you will pass that employee ID as a parameter, and that will be exposed in the URL. Okay, but as soon as it is navigated to the next page, so next page he can easily access that information through this URL. That's how it is done. Okay, that's how the second page can access the information. Okay, so how again you will read the information? So from the service, let's say you have a OData service. Okay, in which if you're passing a single record, so means as a primary key, means we have a get entity set. Get entity set where how for get entity set you can read the data. You can read all the data in get entity set, but when it comes to the get entity, you're reading only specific record, right? You will pass a key to that entity set, and the data will be loaded in the screen. So for that purpose, you just need an employee ID, and you can pass that employee ID as a filter parameter to your service URL, and then only that record will be fetched if you want to display the record. But let's say you don't want to fetch a record from the service, because all that information is already available in that row itself, whichever row you're clicking. So why you need to call that service? So you can directly use your model. Rather than using routing with navigation parameters, you can also use your models. But only drawback is in two cases. Okay, in first case, if you're going with the model approach, so let's say if I'm inside the next page. Okay, because I'm inside the next page, and if I'm directly going to reload the app, so what will happen in that case? Your first page, because in the first page your model is getting initialized or it's getting defined. So if you're going to the next page, and in that case, what will happen? Your model will be undefined, right? If you're directly reloading the second page, the first page is not loaded yet. So your model will be undefined and you will get an error. Okay, we'll see that slowly, one by one now. Okay, so let's try to do the navigation with mandatory parameters. Okay, so navigation with mandatory parameters means always that parameter is required while navigation. Okay, if you're not going to pass that parameter value, so you will get an error. Okay, your navigation will not be successful. It won't navigate you to next page. Okay, always that parameter is required. Okay, so how to do that navigation? So let's see that. So doing the navigation, so let's say I'm inside the first page. Okay, I'm inside the first page, right? So let me close all this. I will just open the manifest.json file, and I will open okay, I'll do one thing. So we have the first view.xml file, right? So maybe I'll create one table here. Okay, that will be better. So for creating the table, again, we have to. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll just copy the file from here. Okay, so this file is created. After that, I'll just copy the basic settings from this manifest for declaration of that model. Okay, fine. So model, it has been initialized now. Okay, so now the next thing is the code, right? Table code we need it. So table code also we can copy. If it is already there, then we can copy it. Okay, so 4, 5. Now let's see what we have here, output. Okay, fine now. So we have the table here. Okay, inside the first page. Now what I need to do, as soon as I click on this link or maybe this row, okay. So as soon as I click on this link or this row, I need to take user to the next page. Okay, to the next page, I need to take the user to the next page. And in that, I need to pass the information. Okay, so how I will pass as my model is defined inside the manifest. So I just need a ID. Okay. I just need a ID for that product so that I can do the bind element. So once I do the bind element, so in the next page, I am going to display one simple form in the screen in which whichever record is clicked. So that information we need to display in the simple form in the detail. Okay. In the detail manner. So in the table, we can see only few records, but in simple form, at least we will try to display the 10 properties. Okay. In more in detail. So now what I will do now, the next thing is we need to add one event. Okay. So maybe should we add a event based on this link or we should add some navigation? What we should do here? Okay, we have one property mode or selection mode. Okay, if you see, we have a mode here and we also have selection change. Selection change. Okay, let's see what we have here inside the mode. Single select master. Okay, no, we should not add this mode. If we have a structure in master detail, then we can use this. Or otherwise, I'll do one thing. I'll directly add one event here. Press. Okay. So type I'm going to add here navigation. Right? So the type I'm going to add here navigation. So you will see one navigation icon. Okay. Whenever you're see, can you see now here? Okay. So this navigation icon is coming. How this is coming? Because we added one type property here, navigation. Okay. And in press event, I'm just adding one method, handle or this is my method, navigate to detail page. So let me add a code here for the detail. First controller. Okay, so now I'm going to add a code for here. Okay, so now in this, I need to pass that information. I mean, for sure, I'm going to pass the product ID. Okay, because that product ID, for sure, it would be a primary. So I'm just going to pass this product ID in the next page. Okay, so for passing that first, what I need, first I need the router instance, or I can just copy this code. I can paste here. Next thing is we need the ID, right? Which record we are clicking, first of all. That ID also we need it, right? Because whichever record you are going to click, that ID we need it. So I'm just going to inspect and I will add a breakpoint, or I will set one breakpoint inside that navigate to detail page. Okay, as soon as I click, an event will be fired. Copy O event, go to the console, clear this, add. Okay, just add O event dot, or just add O event and just expand, and let's see whether we have that information here. Inside the M parameters, I can only see the ID. So I think looks like we can get the binding context inside the parameters only. So yeah, we have a binding context where we have a records path, the path with that we have clicked. Okay. So this path also you can provide, guys. Okay, that is also possible if you want to pass. But as we have this record inside the product collection, and if you look at this path, so this slash are not allowed to pass inside this URL. Okay, that one thing that we need to remember always. Okay, you cannot pass this path directly inside the URL. Okay, why? Because this slash is not allowed. So what I need to write here, event dot get source dot get binding context, and inside the binding context you have to pass product model. Okay, so now let's say I'm going to pass only. So if I will do the bind element in the next page, so for sure I need a path, right? For sure I need a path, and how I can pass this path in the URL. Okay, let's see that now. I'm just going to get the path dot get path. So I'll just copy. You add one variable. So we have this path. So the next thing is now we have to nav to, right? We have to navigate to the second view or the next page, whatever it is. So in this, we have to pass that information in the parameter. Okay, I'm just providing a name, any name here, like product ID. Product ID is my parameter name. Here I will pass the context path. Or you can just call it as path also. That will be fine. Product. Okay, so this nav2, it is a method of. Okay, here is okay, 1 second. We have one method thing dot router. Search here nav2. Okay, nav2 we have one method nav2. nav2. Yeah. So inside the nav2, the second parameter which you can see, we have first the name of the route uh, to which we have to navigate, and the second is the O parameter. So O parameter is nothing but it is the object where we need to pass the parameter information. Okay, and that information you can pass in this format: parameter 1 colon and the parameter value. Same like parameter 2 colon parameter 2 value. Okay, this is how we can pass. So I'm just going to pass the product path colon and the path. Okay, so now this product path. Now the next thing what we need to do, as soon as you provide the path here, the next thing is you have to go to the manifest.json file. Okay, and inside the manifest.json file, scroll down to the routes. Okay, scroll down to the routes, and here if you see we have the routes for the second view. So in this routes of the second view, so there is a pattern. Okay, so for this pattern you just have to provide a slash after this pattern name and just use opening and closing curly brackets. So this opening and closing curly brackets, it identifies that it is a mandatory parameter. Okay, and just provide the parameter name product path. Okay, this is how we need to pass the mandatory parameters. Okay, and so this mandatory parameters where we need to pass inside the pattern. Okay, and inside the pattern for the second view, because for sure we need to pass this information to the second view, not to the first view. So that's why I'm adding this mandatory parameter information inside the second view. That is also inside the pattern. Okay, so what we have done here. So there are three steps if you want to do the routing with mandatory parameters. First, you need to get that information. Second thing, while navigation, you need to pass that parameter information in the form of object inside the nav2 method. Okay, and whichever the parameter name that you are defining, so that parameter name we have to pass it inside the manifest.json file for that pattern. Whichever the page or the view file you want to navigate. For that pattern, you need to provide by giving opening and closing curly brackets, and inside that you need to provide the property or the parameter name. Okay, guys, any questions in this? So till now?
No, Vic.
Okay, so this is the steps. If you want to pass the information. Okay, so now the next thing is, let's see whether it's navigating or not. That we need to identify. Okay, I'm just removing the hash and I'm going to reload here. Okay, as we know in the second page, nothing we have added so far. Only the second page text is there. Okay, so now as soon as I click on the first or any record, okay, it is not navigating. Why? Let me see the inspect and go to the console. What it is saying, invalid value for the segment product ID. So now guys, are you getting it? See, you cannot pass slash product collection slash one. Why? Because in the URL, in any parameter, you cannot pass the slash value. Okay, that is not allowed actually in the URL. So instead of, let's say instead of the slash, if I'm going to replace that with any other value, so it will be passed. Okay, so if you want, I can try with other value. Okay, let me do one thing here. Okay, let's say if I'm writing, means I'm just going to copy this. This is my value. So let's say I want to replace this slash, replace all instead of slash, right? So wherever there is a slash, replace it with the search value, and the replace value, it should be let's say I'm going to add hyphen or let's say I'm adding this. Okay, fine now. So just I'm replacing that a slash with the hyphen. Okay. So this code I'm just going to add here. Go back here. Okay, now let's see whether it will navigate or not. Let it reload now. Okay, now let's say if I'm clicking on any record, at least it should take me to the next page. That's what my concern is. Can you see now? Is it navigating you to the next page? Okay, if you look at the slash, it is been converted to the hyphen. So now from the URL, what you can do, as we know that we are get from the URL, we have a steps through which you can get this information from the URL. And then from that, what we will do once we receive this information, okay, once we receive this information in the second page, so we will replace this hyphen again back to the hash. Okay, so that is the next step that we need to do. Okay, so at least you got it, how I'm passing the information from the one page to the second page. Any questions in this? Guys, any questions in this?
No, clear.
Okay, so now let's see. Now, after passing this information to the second page, how the second page will access this information from the URL, right? At the end, we need this information inside the controller. Then only we can manipulate or we can work with this data. So as it is available inside the URL, so how to access this information from the URL into the controller file of the second page? So for accessing that information, we have one couple of methods. Okay, so we have one couple of methods through which you can access this information. Okay, so that couple of methods are the pattern match. Okay, so for router, I'll take you to the router API and I'll search for attach okay, 1 second. I'll just go to attach router. Okay, so we have a couple of method attach route match, attach route pattern match, and attach before route match. So there are a couple of methods. What it will do, so as soon as that route is matched, a event will be fired. Okay, a function will be fired. Sorry, a function will be called, and in that function you will receive this information, this URL information. Okay, in the O event, and from that O event you can access that information and you can store that. And after that, you can do the bind element so that whichever record is been clicked. So as you made that model as a component level model, so you can access that information easily from that. Okay, I'm just looking for that one method. Guys, just hold on for a minute. Core dot routing get router. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me change the version for a second. 152. Okay, let's try to use this attach route match. Okay, so what it does, attaches the event handler function to the route match event of sap.ui.core.routing.router. Okay, so what will happen as soon as the event we need to attach to the route. Okay, and then that event will be fired. And in this event, we need to provide a 3 parameters in which one is the O data, the actual object, second is the function callback function, and the third one is the O listener. Okay, so this O data, it is optional. We don't need this. We need actual this second function. This function we need, and the third one is the O listener, means where we need to fire this. Okay, so O listener means the current controller instance we need to pass. So attach route match is there. Next thing what we have here, attach bypass, attach before route match, and attach event. Hmm. Okay, so guys, which event we need? If you look at it, we have a two methods here, attach route match and attach route pattern match. Okay, the one which we are looking for is attach route pattern match. Okay, so why I'm looking for this? Because we want this event to fire only in case of if the pattern is getting matched. Okay, if the pattern is getting matched, then only we want this event to fire. Otherwise, what will happen if you're clicking on the back again, that event will be fired, and whatever the code or that piece of code that you have added inside the function, so automatically that will be triggered. Unnecessarily that will be triggered on back navigation, because we only want that function to fire or that function to execute only in case of if you are navigating from the first view to the second view, that is also based on that click, right? So that is what we need it. Otherwise, anytime if you're going back or by clicking on the back navigation, you don't want that method to be triggered again. Okay, so if you want that such thing to be avoided, so we have to use attach route pattern match, because it's already mentioned here. Okay, what it is mentioned, it will only fire for the route that has a matching pattern. Okay, if that pattern is matching, then only this event will be fired, not for its parent route. Okay, so let's do one thing. Just I'm adding this attach pattern match. So now how to add this? Now I need to open second view. Uh, second view.controller.js file. In this, you just add one code. So first of all, we need this dot get router info. After that, I will write dot that attach route pattern match. Okay, so before that, I will write get route. There is a method for getting the route. Inside the route, which route I want to get. The name of that route is second view. Okay, so this only we want it. Where is that code? Yeah, and after that, I'm going to attach a event. Okay, I'm going to attach an event for this route. For this route, I'm going to attach a event. So in this, I'm writing this dot on route match. Okay, so this is a method name I'm just providing here. So this method we need to call and just giving the second parameter as this, the O listener. Okay, so as soon as this event is fired, so this method will be called. Fine now. So now here I am going to write path where I'm receiving this inside the O event. Okay, so we'll do that. Now we will just debug the code and I'll just put a breakpoint so that it would be easy for you guys. Looks like it is still loading. Let's hold on for a second. Okay, so inside the second view, I'm just putting a breakpoint here and also here. Okay, looks like we have a attach route pattern match is not a function. Okay, get through, get route. Okay, let me reload, and I have already kept the breakpoint. So let me see what all methods we have here for that route. Okay. Get route. Get route. Where is our get route method? Yeah, from this get route. So after the get route, we need to call routing.route, and then from here we need to call attach pattern match. Fine now, guys. This method I was looking for actually. Okay, so these methods are only applicable for the route. Okay, it will work after once you get the route. Okay, I'll show you now. Okay, so now here we have a pattern here, right? So if you look, we have a couple of methods. Dot attach. Okay, so how many methods we have? Attach before match, attach event once, attach match, attach pattern match, and detach pattern match. So we want to call a method attach pattern match. Okay, that's why it failed actually for this code. Attach route pattern match, it is not available for after the get route. Okay, so this is a method which I'm going to add here. Okay, if you look at the parameters, it's the same only. Like for attach route pattern match, 3 parameters are there, right? Same like that, we have a 3 parameters for attach pattern match, in which OData is optional. Second one is the function. Okay, this function it will return the data that we are passing in the URL. And the third one is the O listener, in which you just need to pass this keyword. It's where you're calling this. A listener for this event is the controller. Okay, so that's why I'm just passing this. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm just going to remove this now. Now already we have kept the breakpoint. So once we navigate to the second view, I will put a breakpoint and let's see how this event is getting fired. Okay, so let's say I'm clicking on the third record. Okay, so now as soon as I click on the third record, yeah, it will get the router instance. It will get here. And after this, from binding context, we are getting the path. So what is the path? Path is slash product collection /2. And that slash we are replacing it. Okay, so we are replacing it with the hyphen. So this is what the information we will see inside the URL. Okay, so now if you see, now we are inside the second view, which has the hyphen product collection -2. So in this, we have the pattern matching. Okay, right, which has the second view / product path. And after that, we need a attach pattern match, which will trigger this on route match. Okay, so I have kept the breakpoint inside the on route match method. Okay, it will get the router instance, it will return, it will come here, and after that it will get the route. Okay, now automatically it will come to the on route match. Why it is coming? Because that this pattern it got match, that route it got match. Okay, so from that, if you look at the O event, now how we can access that information? So inside the O event, if I expand, so you will see some information in the M parameters. That is also inside the arguments. Can you see here? Inside the arguments, you have the key which you passed from the first view. That is the product ID. And that product path, it is holding the value hyphen product collection -2. So this is what the value we are looking for, right? So that's what we need to access. Okay, so how to get that information? You will write O event dot get arguments, sorry, get parameter. And inside that you will pass arguments dot product path. Okay, so this is how you can get the product path from here. And after that, you can also write dot replace all again. Wherever hyphen is there, again you replace with this slash. Fine. So just copy this, go back. Now you just get the path. Okay, now you have the path. Now the next thing is what you need to do. So now as soon as you come here, now you need to, okay, we will do one thing. We will design one simple form here in the second page.view.xml file. Okay, I'll go to the sample, search for simple form. I'm just copying the code here, okay? Okay, so this is simple form code. Just copying this code now. We'll paste here. Okay, after that, I need to include the library as well. Okay, X and F. So now page is nothing but it's coming from SAP.m library. Okay, that's already there. Okay, so the next thing what I need to do here. So this ID is there of simple form, right? So, okay, let me add first the couple of labels here. I will add product ID, category, main category. Okay, let me add it one by one. Product ID. So what is the value for a product ID? Means property name is product ID here, right? Product ID and the name of the model which we are going to bind is the product model, right? So where is that product model? Product. Yeah. Okay. So I will just copy this. Paste, 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 paste. Okay, remove this ID. We don't need it. Okay. So the next is, yeah, input. You can keep it as it is. That's fine. That's okay. So now the product ID second column, like category you can add. Third one is main category, or maybe you can add a description here. Date of sale you can add. Then you can add status. After that, currency code, or maybe price I will add. Okay, fine. Only these columns I'm adding here. Okay, so now, yeah. Okay, so the next thing is, so I'll just add a ID product form. Now, as soon as I get, I will get the ID of simple form. Bind element. So in this bind element, I'm just adding a path here. So path we have is the S path, and the model is product model. Okay, that's what the model name is. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's go to the start and let's see now. Okay, I'm going to click on this fifth record. Can you see now the details of fifth record? Okay, so let's say I'm going back and now I'm going to click on the first record. Can you see now the details of first record? Okay, let's say this record. See, automatically it's getting updated. Why? Because we have used bind element, and with the help of this ID, whichever we are getting it from the top, based on that we are only getting we are just doing the bind element. So we are just binding the context of that clicked record to this simple form on runtime, because that model is accessible, because that model is a component level model. That's why we are able to do. But let's say if that model was defined on the local level or on the view level, so it will not work in case of second page. Okay, fine guys.
Yes.
Okay, you have to practice it once, so it would be more clear. I'll just export this project for your reference. Okay, so I'll explain you once again what I've done. So once you pass that information, so how to access that information in the second view.controller.js file, you need to first of all, you need to get the router instance. After that, you need to call one method get route. So in that get route, you have to pass the name of the route, which you have defined inside the manifest. Okay, this value you need to pass of the name property. So once that route is matched, so this method, it will just attach. Okay, it will attach a event handler. So as soon as that pattern is matched, so this method will be called. Okay, on route match. So in this method, with the help of o event, you can access the information of the of that parameter with the help of arguments. Okay. So once you store that path inside the S path, so I'm just getting the ID of simple form, and on that I'm calling bind element. Okay, so inside the bind element, so this bind element, it will help you to bind the context of that clicked element. So by passing the path and the model name. Okay, so once you pass, you will see that information like this in the form. Fine, guys. Any questions in this? Okay, for sure you need a practice. Without that, it won't understand. I would say that I would suggest that take 2 days time, utilize it for this purpose. Okay, and then let me know the question. Maybe we can discuss your queries tomorrow. So any questions in this mandatory? So what we have understood from the mandatory parameters that let's say if you're not going to pass any mandatory information, like let's say this path, this property you have already added in this pattern. And let's say from the controller file, if you're not going to provide this information, so it won't work. Okay, it will fail in that case. So next case is you cannot pass a slash value in this URL. Okay, that is also not allowed. So what you can do, if you're going to pass that such kind of information, you can replace that with any other value. Okay, the value that you can understand and that you can easily replace. So that kind of spatial symbol or any value that you can add it. So once you add that, so in the second page, you can easily access with the help of attach pattern match method. Okay. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll show you. Yes.
I think we have to practice, then it will get more into our mind.
Yeah. See, for this, for sure, you will need a practice.
This on route something is.
Yes,
Obviously, we
within
have.
one time, you cannot even means you will get overall idea like a summary, but yeah, you need to deep dive in. Then only you can do this. Okay,
And
fine.
this replace of every time we have to do with hyphen with like slash.
See, I told you, right? This is one way to access the information. Means this is one way to pass the information. Or the next case is, let's say you clicked on this record. Okay. So instead of nav2, what you will do, you will not pass this information. You can comment this code, and you can also remove this parameter from here. Okay. So what you can do, you can just create a new property here. Let's consider that product model is already available, right? So what I will do here, before I navigate. Okay, before I navigate, I will write like this. I will get the model here, this dot get. owner component dot get model. This is the second way which I'm showing you without passing the parameter. You can also try this get model dot set property. I'm setting a new property like s path, and inside that you can pass this o context path. That's it. Okay, you can just, I will just copy this. You can just comment out this code and you remove this. Okay, after that inside the manifest. Okay, I'm just removing this. After that I'll add it. Okay, so now you are inside the second page, right? So once you are inside the second page, so now as soon as in on route match, so this piece of code you can comment. So now if you want to get the path, same path, so you can write here, what you can write here, this dot get, again you need to get that model, get owner component dot get model dot get property, and inside that you can pass the path. Okay, and you will receive that path and that you can pass it here, and that will work as it is without any problem. Okay, now let's see that. Okay, see, can we able to get now still in same information? See, I don't have any parameter passed in the URL. Okay, I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so I'll just put a breakpoint here in the controller. Okay, let's say I'm clicking on the third record. So yeah, so inside the O context path, we have the path of the clicked record. After that, I'm just setting a new property as path to this model. Okay, so once I set, so I'll show you what we have. What is the content of product model here? Can you see now? The content of product model is product collection start. And after that, there is one more property S path in which we have stored the path of the clicked record. Okay. So now this record only we have to access in the second page, or that is inside the detail page. So inside the detail page, I'll just put a breakpoint once again here so that I can show you that how we are getting that. Okay. So let's say we have that information, right? Okay, as soon as we navigate into the detail page, now in this, now let's say I want to access that information. As of now, we have that path information available inside the second page. And if I want to access that, so I can write get property. And inside the get property, you can write /s path. And you see now we have that path information, and this path information, I'm just passing it inside the path property. Okay, and the model name. That's it. Guys, now it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how you can pass the data. So I have shown you two ways. Either you can do it with the help of model, or the next way you can do it with the help of parameters. Anywhere, any one you can work, that's not a problem at all. Both are a best practice only to follow. Okay, that's not a problem anymore. But you just need to know that this is how the routing with mandatory parameter is done. Okay, so now let's consider. I'm just okay, just going back to the previous code which we have added. Control Z. set property is there, right? Just comment out this code. Now let's say by chance your data is empty. Okay, by chance your data is blank. Okay, let's consider that by chance your data is blank. You're not passing any information in this path. Like if it is blank like this, let's see whether it is navigating you to the next page or not. Okay, let's consider if I'm going to navigate you. Is it navigating now? Why? Because you cannot even pass a blank data. See, cannot read properties of null, reading length. Okay, because blank values are not allowed in this parameter because it is a mandatory parameters. So now in order to handle such kind of requirement, there is one more concept of optional parameters. Same like mandatory parameters, there is also the option of optional parameters. Okay, in optional parameter, if you know that data will come, okay, in some time data will come and in some time data is not there. So what you can do, so instead of curly brackets, you can use colon sign. Okay, fine now. So you just have to replace that curly brackets with the colon sign. Okay, so once you replace that with the colon sign, so your optional parameters will work as it is. Okay, so now if I'm clicking on any record, it will take you to the second view without any problem. Fine now. Okay, it will work without any problem because it is a optional parameters. Okay, guys, any questions in this?
So in mandatory, it will not go to next screen, but in optional, if the data is not found, it will still go to the next screen.
Yes, it will still go to the next view. Okay, so
If
this
we
is
want to show the
mhm.
message that this data selected is not present,
Mhm.
can we also do that? Because it's going to next page, but
No.
user will
What you
think,
can do before it navigates here only, you can just display one message, right?
ah,
Means let's say this property will have a blank data. So here only you can display the message rather than taking user to the next screen.
yeah, right.
First of
And
all,
even,
first only you restrict
mm,
him.
yes.
Okay, any questions in this? I know that somewhat it's confusing, but I would say for sure I will say that it will help you for sure. Okay, so I will just export this project and so that it will you can just take a reference. And if you want to practice, you can practice in this session. How you want to do that? You want to practice here or we should close?
No, we'll practice later. We can continue with the lecture session.
We can continue.
With the session if you want.
Yeah, we can continue also, but again, I thought of taking that topic tomorrow. Okay,
Acha, sure.
yeah, one
Okay,
more
so
topic is
we'll do
left.
the practice then.
Yeah, do one thing, just to utilize means at least at one we are closing this, right? So maybe you guys can in the session itself you can just practice if you want to. Okay, but now almost we have covered. So only one thing is pending in this history. Okay, so there is a concept of history in the routing and navigation. So that history, I want you to just explain me. Okay, maybe tomorrow. So I'm just going to write one code on back navigation. Okay, so I'm just going to
Okay.
write one code on back navigation. So that back navigation, what it will do, I'll tell you. So now I'll give you one real time scenario. Okay, it would be very simple real time scenario. So let's consider in your application, it's your single page only, but there are 4 view.xml files. Okay, so uh, from first view, you're taking user to the second view, and from second view, you're taking user to the third view. And then from third view, you're taking user to the fourth view. Okay. Now let's consider you're on the fourth view. Okay. Let's consider you're on the fourth view. Okay. Now, as soon as you are on the fourth view, so at that time, user is directly navigating the screen. Means he is reloading the entire screen in that case. Okay. As soon as user will reload, whatever the history is stored for that application, it will be cleared. Right? For sure that history will be cleared. Okay. So now that history is cleared. Now, let's say now user is on the fourth page, on the fourth view.xml file. Now, as soon as you click on the back navigation, so as a requirement, so what is your expectation? Where user should go? User should go to the third page, or you should go to the home page directly? Because we have reloaded the entire app. Now there is no context. There is no data stored for that user. Because let's say if you're passing some information from the third view, to the fourth view, and that information is not available with you, right? So now what will happen in this case? Will you take user to the third view, or you will directly take user to the home page? What you will do?
Uh, I think it's means generally it should go to the home view because no information would be there. Whatever the memory was holding, it got vanished. Means after reloading the entire app. So it's
Right.
better to start again with the start. Sorry, from the home screen. But ideally, what I feel personally, which I've seen the apps and everywhere, it should reload the same. It should show the same view because again going back and coming here. So I mean that should it should happen because
Yeah.
what I've
See, that is
understand
also
and
possible. That is also possible. Let's say you are on the fourth view, and in that case, if you are going to reload, right? So rather than displaying
mhm.
the fourth view, you can directly display the home page at reload itself. That code is there that we can add it. Okay. Once we add
Okay.
that code, so if user is on the fourth view, and in that case, if he's directly, unfortunately, if he's clicking on the reload icon, so we will make sure that instead of taking that user to the fourth view, we will directly take him to the home page. So that would be better, right? What do you say, guys?
Yeah, actually that is a better option, but still
Okay.
that question because it should
Yes,
be on
yes.
the same queue, even though we are loading it. Otherwise, it will be a very time-consuming activity, and means I've seen that in some app, but not SAP app. In general app, it
Hmm.
is remain on the same view, but in SAP, I think we have
In
to go
SAP,
to the
yeah,
home view.
because see, in this example, what we have done, whichever record we clicked, we store that information in the model. Well, let's say if the developer is handling all that information, if he is passing all that information with the help of model, he is not using routing concept. So in that case, if you're on fourth view and if you need that information, the clicked information, so you will get a undefined error in that case, right? Because that property itself will be not available inside that model. When that property is getting added inside the model in the first page, on the click of row click, right? As soon as you click on the row, in that case only that property is getting created and it's getting defined inside the product model. But as you're inside the fourth view, and if user is going to reload, so if that user, for sure that user will be on the fourth view. So that first view's operation, whatever the user operation took place, that won't be available in the browser context. So your application will won't work properly because that required information is missing in this case. So it's better that you directly take as soon as if user is reloading, as soon as user reload, you directly take the user to the home page rather than taking him to the fourth view. Okay. So if you want that thing should happen, so we have one concept. Okay. So we have a history concept. So let me search your history, or I'll do one thing. So this Okay, so in API reference, I'll search for history. Okay, so there is a history concept here. Okay, sap.ua.core.history, or let's say you want to get the routing history. So this we need to add it here on the top. And uh, in the history, we have one method. Okay, 1 second. I'm just checking that method. There is one method which we have here for the history. With the help of that method, history, you can directly uh, hash changer. Okay, so I will try this once. Extends. Okay, let me add this history once. Let me go back to component.js. Okay, I'm just going to add this code inside the component.js file. I'll tell you why I'm writing that. So no, we have a separate history concept here. Okay, let me add this history. Okay, pass this history here inside the function. Next thing is now what we need to do, we need to reset the hash. Okay, so this history tree, after that, once you get the history, so this once you get the history, then changer. So let me do one thing, guys. Let's hold on for a second. Okay, guys, and I'll show you this in next session, maybe tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine now. So tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I'll show you. So meanwhile, whatever it's completed, right? Just try with that. Okay, just try to at least do one time practice, and maybe tomorrow we can start with the audit. And before that, I'll show you how we can reset this.
So
Okay.
tomorrow, O data, you are going to start from scratch, like how to create services and all that.
Yes,
How
yes.
you have
Yeah.
to cut.
Yes, yes.
Acha.
Okay.
Can't we cover another topic tomorrow so that on Sunday we can cover the O data service? Just asking us.
What?
I mean to say that can't we cover some other topic tomorrow and O data service on Sunday?
We can cover, but there are no topics left now.
Acha.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So without OData, we cannot complete OData model. So OData model is left in UI5, but that we cannot cover without OData services. Okay, so
Okay, Vic.
that's why
Got
what
it.
I'm planning tomorrow, half of the OData implementation. On Saturday, half of the OData implementation. And on Sunday, we can complete all the operations OData from the OData model side. Okay.
Okay, okay.
It's very
Got it.
simple. That's not that much complex. I will
Okay.
make sure that whatever the ABAP code we will write, right? It should be simpler, because see, you are already ABAPers, you guys are. So you know better than me for sure. Okay. So we'll try with the basic and simple code, and we'll try to do all the basic operations which are available in OData.
Okay, Vic.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
guys. If no queries,
Thank you.
yeah, we can close this call for today. Okay. And
Yeah,
before that,
okay.
I'll just upload this project so that you can just get a
Okay.
reference.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Avik. Avik, one doubt.
Mhm.
I have
Yes.
one certification left. Actually, I have. Can you stop the recording?
One second, one second.